Let's get the views now of formidable ex-government minister and television personality and the jewel in the crown of Mark Dolan tonight every Sunday, Anne Widdecombe. First of all, Anne, great to have you on the show. Happy New Year. Your reaction to what I've had to say, we're going to have a Labour government. It's down to you, Nigel and Richard Tice.
Yeah, we heard that argument before, didn't we? If I was disgusted by what you said, and very sorry, Mark, but I was even more disgusted by what Annunciata Rees-Mogg said when she said, we damaged the Conservatives last time. Dash it, we delivered Boris that majority last time, and look what we got. Record high taxes, record levels of crime, completely uncontrolled immigration against everything that they had promised. And there are no Tories. You know, you're worried about the Conservatives losing. Where are these Conservatives? I keep looking round to try and find them. And your email correspondent was absolutely right when he said, it'll be more of the same. Whichever one wins, it's going to be more of the same. The time has come, Mark, it really has come, for a change in British politics. You will not get change unless you vote for it. That is the lesson.
So, Anne,
unless you vote.
And is a Labour government a price worth paying for the destruction of the Conservative Party and the creation of a new, proper party of the right? Is that the strategy? Is that Nigel's plan? Is that your plan? Are you playing the long game and swallowing a Labour government in order to change Britain?
Well, I don't think you've been listening terribly carefully, because what I said to you was that there is no Conservative government. These are not Conservatives. They're not putting into practice Conservative policies, and it will be very much the same. It may be a little bit worse with Labour. Taxes might go a bit higher. There might be a few more strikes. It might be a little bit worse. But what the Tories have given us over the last 5 years has not been what people voted for and has not been conservatism. Now, you can't get change just by lamenting the present situation, which I've heard you do often enough.
And would you like to see a changed Conservative Party, or would you like to see the back of it?
The way you get a changed Conservative Party is for Reform to give it a really, really sore nose in this election. That's what will change the Conservative Party.
And how would that manifest? The Tories would need to be eviscerated in November of next year, perhaps, which is highly likely. And at that point, they are forced to engage with other voices on the right, like Nigel Farage, like Richard Tice, and like you.
What would actually happen is they'd split. Some would engage with voices on the left, but others will indeed engage with voices on the right, and that will make them for a very bright new future, I think. But it's going to be more of the same forevermore unless people vote for change. When people complain that there's no difference between the parties, I say, why are you voting for either of them?
So, Anne, you are accepting the price to be paid politically, which is Keir Starmer as Prime Minister for 5 years, a Labour government for 5 years. You will accept, because we know that Reform UK are not going to form a majority at the next election, you will accept a Labour government, the consequence of your strategy. You're going to put Keir Starmer in number 10. You must admit that.
As I've said already, we've got a Socialist Party in number 10. These are not Conservatives. You've got pale pink Socialists and you've got red Socialists, and that's all you've got. Now, that to me is not a proper choice. My choice is Reform, because it is genuinely common sense, proportionality, anti-woke, low taxes on the side of the people. As I've said before, very few people in this country can afford private education. Even fewer can afford private health. And the state is meant to supply those services. And the state, under both Conservative and Labour and coalition governments, has abysmally failed to get a good standard in those services. Now, for heaven's sake, let's get some common sense. Let's get Reform. Reform will give you common sense. Take a risk. Vote for us. Then we might actually be the next government.